when the human bureaucracy gets involved, man, it feels like they forget about the person that they're supposed to be serving. It's not just a government problem, it's a mindset problem. You have to elect people that not only have vision, but are decisive with that vision. One of the most frustrating parts of government, brother, is the speed, right? So we have systems, and on paper they read, that's how it works. So you have a problem, you apply, they respond.
Yeah.
But when the human bureaucracy gets involved,
Yeah.
man, it feels like they forget about the person that they're supposed to be serving.
Mm-hmm.
So I resent very much that the only reason that this person got what they were owed and due is because I called.
Yeah, the people they serve, but also like, what's the goal? Like, what are we trying to achieve here? You know, we talked before we went live about some of the issues in this particular city with just red tape, you know, or conflicting codes and stuff like that. And the good news is the city recognizes the problems. They're redoing the land development code. Like, you know, they're working on it, right? We're sort of, you know, our hands are tied because we have a 40-year-old development code that conflicts with the future land use and some of these other issues. But yeah, I just feel bad for the mom and pop. Small businesses have a hard time getting going. I mean, it's really, really tough to lease a space and do a build out and plan and go through all the different codes to get started before you even serve a cup of coffee. You know?
That's right.
And cities like our cities and our communities used to really run that way, right? Like before corporate interests and the suburban lifestyle, like people used to come together and, you know, you would sell the eggs and I would sell the bread and like, that's how it would work. And I would love to see the state and the county and the city kind of enable and be more friendly to people that are just starting out. There's been creative businesses like I had on Nimble Retail. They're doing these, it's not a shipping container, but think of a shipping container sized little retail spot. They could get a land lease right at a parking lot in a little coffee shop.
And pop it up.
You know what I mean? Pop it up, and then maybe they graduate and move on to a bigger space. But you got to support those little small businesses, man.
So, business attorney, like, you know, my office was on MLK in West Tampa for years, and that's the frustrating part. So government is saying, let's bring people in, and that's what I need. That's jobs. That's what I need. And then they become the thing that gets in the way of their own success.
Right.
Partial, it's a two-part thing. The historical context at which we used to run government, you know, like you and me, we're like to use that word, we're nimble, right? If we see a thing, we can react to it quickly, and I'm moving in that direction. That's how you kill competition so that you can win in business. Governments do not work that way. Governments are inherently, well, we've always done it that way.
Yeah.
Is that a new thing?
Right.
So go back, right? Florida is disconnected. Business, if you had a laundry business or a sandwich shop or whatever, it was here local and you knew how to make it there. But now we're so connected. We're so big. We're so fast that we created processes here for the old way. And then the new way comes in and they're like, yeah, that doesn't work. This is what you have to do. Fill out this paper. You're like,
right.
It's 2025.
Yeah.
We can't add one button and we're up. That's number one. So dragging government into the modernity, it's always like 10 years minimum behind.
Yeah.
And that is unsatisfactory. You know, when I do my business coaching and CEO coaching, if you aren't tapped in right here to the modernity of your business, you should just shut it down or hand it off because you're hurting your business. And you will see that in family businesses, for example. And I'm only highlighting this to show you it's not just a government problem, it's a mindset problem.
Right, right. Almost like a culture.
Oh, good. Family, culture, business.
Yeah.
Old company, been there for a long time.
Yep.
They've made a lot of money. Why wouldn't, Danny, like I've done this for 20 years. We've made a lot of money. And now you're bringing me in.
Why change now?
Modernize yourself though, right?
Right.
And so you have to give up the control. You have to give up the ideas. I know you always did this, but that's actually costing you money. Did you realize it? Oh, I didn't. So if you're in that zone and you can't get yourself out, government can't do it, right? Government changes mayors every 4 or 8 years.
Right.
Chiefs of staff come and go. In the middle, you've got city councils, county commissioners coming. There's no institutional knowledge that works against business. Mm-hmm. See, that inherently is the enemy of business because business, like Tico's been here for forever. Right? Think about that. Gonsmart has been here for a long time. He's like, hey, he could probably navigate the permit process better than the freaking guy who's supposed to.
Right.
So there's that inherent part. One, bureaucracy. All right. bureaucracy in Florida, they mean well, right? These people didn't come around to screw you and your business. They're just like, hey, I don't have authorities. I'm comfy.
Or the code says, 1 foot, 12 inches, and you're 11.9
Correct.
or whatever. Yeah.
And so you and I in business would be like, hey, that's the same thing, right? You're like, yeah, let's go. And right. But they don't have the authority. And then you get politicians involved, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have different constituencies to answer to. I got to get reelected. I got to have safe buildings. So all of these things come into play for, I call the perfect storm against business and development. So really, when you go to elect people, you have to elect people that not only have vision, but are decisive with that vision. They could sit here on your podcast and be like, bro, I love business. Okay, let's put your money where your mouth is. Let's push, right, for the change. In the house, I'll tell you this, in the house, one of my worst experiences, and probably one of my most telling experiences, is going up against what I considered a professional staff that is entrenched. Okay, not all of them, but what happens is I run every 2 years. Okay, I only get a term limit of 8 years, right? Which I believe in term limits, right? I think we should extend it to 12, because what happens is in those 8, you go in and you tell a staff member that's been there for 20 years, I've got this idea. Nah, that's stupid.
Right.
And they will work against the idea. An unelected person is telling me, no, we're not going to do it.
Wow.
In fact, I had a now infamous, I'm trying to figure out how to say it without like being super rude. I had a situation in my office, like my second year, I got promoted to be a whip, which is on the leadership team of this committee. And one of the policy directors of the committee says, I'm going to kill your bill. And I was like, you're talking to me right now? I was like, because I don't remember seeing your name on that little board when I was handing out my cards, sweating, knocking on doors and telling people what my policies were going to be. That was you? Yeah, okay, we'll do whatever you want, right? And so we had a really big coming to Jesus, ultra uncomfortable, and it was a recalibration. But ultimately, you know what they say? This Cuban kid, he'll be gone in 2 years. We'll just wait him out. We'll pretend to do what he says, and then we'll move on. That entrenched nature, okay, is in the state, is in the county, is in the city, in every single one of these.
Most people think of it at the federal level. Like that's been the big thing for the last 10 years is the air quote swamp, right? Like
100%.
This institution that is unelected, that's been in place for decades, that operates in one lane. And when elected officials come in that are new, like you're just describing, like most people think of it at the federal level, but you're saying it also exists at every level.
Without doubt. Two different kind of swamps. One is the one that's like, it's not conspiracy. The one people that think that they're in charge and they're actively working for some agenda. What I'm talking about, though, that is the more inherent is 90% of them don't mean right to human beings follow the path of least resistance. It's like water. You know what I mean? So if you come in with an idea that's going to ruffle the system and make it work, that's what I'm hiring you to do. I need you to be forward leaning like Tampa needs it.
Hey guys, if you want to watch the full episode of this clip, click right here. Make sure to subscribe by clicking right here. Thank you for watching.